Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your end of March 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So I'm recording this on the new moon in Pisces. Of course, Pisces is your opposite sign. And new moon can bring new developments in committed partnerships. Maybe you've discussed taking a relationship, committing to that person, even if you're in a monogamous relationship. Maybe you're talking about moving in or with that person or getting engaged, getting married. For a lot of you, this is a lot of you. There's a few of you for whom this will be in the sixth house, and this might be some kind like the late degree Virgos. This might be in your sixth house and have more to do with like a new job or something along those lines. And then at the end of the month, on the 28th, at least where I live, it's going to be on the 28th, we have a full moon at 8 degrees of Libra, and that is the sign right after you. So that's the second house of earned income. For earlier degree Virgos, this will be in the second house, so that will be possibly getting additional funds, maybe money that was owed to you, or some kind of bonus, or like, what are they? I always forget the name of it. Like when you get, not a residual, but a commission. For others, this is actually going to fall in the first house of the self. And there might be a lot more people for whom that is the reality. I would have to see your chart exactly to see where this is going to be. This is especially for Virgo rising, if I'm talking about the natal chart for sure. So that can just be ending something in your life in general, or some kind of, maybe the way that you look in some way. I don't know. Something with your image. Oh, there's that marriage card. So here we go. Taurus. Oh my goodness. There's some kind of decision. Pick an additional card. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the hierophant. This is a card connected to Taurus. I connected to Sag, but it's the card of, it is the card of tradition. And it's not really focusing the way I want it to. Why not? It's the card of, conformity, and also the card of marriage, which is a traditional action, and it's also the card of religion. So I'm going to just keep going so I can look at the past position we have. The Knight of Pentacles. This is the card of plugging away as a workhorse, maybe having a very good work ethic where you're just, doing it, crushing it day after day. But why is the Hierophant front and center? Because maybe you can't go through the motions anymore. You can't cross that river. You can't enter that river in the same way again, or however that saying goes. In other words, everything has changed, and you have to adjust to what's really going on, in this moment. And how I interpret that is that if you're the kind of person, and I think a lot of Virgos are, first of all, I said this card, the Knight of Pentacles, is associated with Taurus, but Taurus is an earth sign. Pentacles are earth energy. And Well, oh, it's funny. The hierophant is Taurus too. I'm getting two Taurus energies. But just in general with Virgo, all the earth signs, there is that practical nature that kind of permeates your life. And so you might be the kind of person who is very much geared towards that. And, we've been a year into the shutdown, and things have been starting to go back in the last half of March. We're really going to see more forward movement because we're going to have officially passed that anniversary. And I think, as we get into the astrological new year and beyond, things start to become more opened up. And it's almost like I really kind of assumed it would be something like that even before I had heard, because after you have like a year of something, then it's like, okay, I did my part. Now let's just move on, or something like that, and so if you've been somebody who has worked from home, or maybe you had a furlough of some sort, and now you're back into the action, you may have found that you can't do it anymore, that it just doesn't work. And the Hierophant can be a spiritual connection. So something may have transpired and you might not have connected it to something spiritual, but it still changed the game. It was a game changer for you in some way. And the only thing I can think is that you realize there's more to life than just going to work, coming home, and watching Netflix or whatever, whatever it is that you do. There's more to life than that. And this may have been because you had to completely change your schedule or something like that. Virgo rules the sixth house, and one of the areas of the sixth house is about daily routines. So Virgos tend to be very, keyed into that. And when they don't have this outer support for that, it forces them to have to make adjustments. And when you make adjustments, it expands your life, because you're not in that, I was going to say in that flow, because, I want to make it positive, but it's actually in a rut, or not a holding pattern, but just kind of that well-worn track of just wash, rinse, repeat. It's like doing something different, kind of shifts everything. And actually, they were saying that a lot of people, this shutdown actually hastened their awakening process, because they were forced to change their patterns, and that was enough to make that change. And it's interesting that those two cards represent Taurus, because Taurus is one of those signs that might be maybe out of all the signs is most notorious for this kind of a thing of being a fixed earth sign, of just kind of clinging to the known, the familiar, and then doing it again and again and again, because it feels safe, and that's something that you can't underestimate, the attraction of feeling safe. The higher message is the Two of Wands, and this is a card that is connected with some sort of choice, kind of a fork in the road, if you will. Now, one thing that, I usually don't read this card in a like a literal interpretation. It's more like looking at it from the spiritual perspective. But as somebody pointed out to me, there's another hand That's not that person's hand on the other one. So, whenever you have twos, you're talking about duality or some sort of decision. And in terms of duality, I mean, the wands relate to career. And so if we look at those two cards, Knight of Pentacles and the Hierophant may be you having a more philosophical outlook or even a spiritual outlook and wanting that kind of career that is meaningful to you, not just about making money. The Knight of Pentacles is perfectly content to amass money, and they're motivated by money, probably, I would assume, and that's good enough for them. And maybe at one time that was true for you to some degree, and it might not have been just like out of greed, but maybe that sense of like, hey, this is a tangible proof of my hard work. And now you have kind of leveled up, so to speak, spiritually, and you have a different way of approaching this idea of service. They talk about service to self versus service to others. And the sixth house is a house of service. Now, we call it work because that's the worldly way of looking at it. If you approached what you do, even if you're making money from it, what you do for a living, as service, there would be this more noble quality to it, wouldn't it? Even if you were working in a big box store, you could still be that humble servant who is trying to make other people's lives better. I know that every now and then I am in that environment and I encounter somebody who is like that, and it's such a rush. It's such a great boost to experience that, because you realize, I mean, it really reiterates this idea that it isn't what we're doing, it's how we're doing it. It's what we're putting, the essence of ourselves that we're putting into it. You could be bagging groceries and be, inspiring people, and not only making their day brighter, but also giving them food for thought by your conversation, how you carry yourself. The Hierophant is very philosophical. The Knight of Pentacles is kind of, in this work mode. So he's not like, this is terrible. I was going to say he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I don't mean it like that. I just mean that he's not there for that. He's there to kind of plug away. And we're talking about archetypes and facets of yourself. When you're in that mode of just like getting up and working, you don't really have a chance. You don't have the arena to exercise your mind. Of course, Virgo has a fine mind. It might kind of be more geared towards mundane matters because that's what it specializes in. But certainly you may have the moon in Sagittarius, or maybe you have your sun in the ninth house and you have a much more philosophical attitude. So, two forks in the road, which one are you going to take? And if these are two people in your life, one person may offer you a practical, may offer you safety that appeals to your earthy sense, and yet maybe your spiritual growth has attracted this other person into your life. What crosses you is the Queen of Swords, and this can be a I think a tendency for some of you to be a little bit bitchy, perhaps, if you are someone who has had issues, if this is like a relationship issue. Virgos can hide behind sarcasm, being overly critical. It's a defense mechanism, I think, with this person. Now, this may be an actual woman who the woman scorned, um, and if this is connected to a work matter, this person would be like a boss, I guess, because the queen would represent somebody in a position of authority, and that person may not be very cooperative if you are planning a transition, if you're planning to leave your current position. Like the hierophant can also be like, I think, academia. And so this person may be like the head of the department, or, a professor. Maybe you're trying to get like some kind of what do they call those? Recommendation. What do they call those? Letters of recommendation. Uh, it was funny. I remember I briefly attended grad school, and I was, up there in age. I mean, I was in my 30s at the time, maybe even early 40s. I can't remember. But I couldn't stand having to do that. I just felt like, I have to ask, to even get in. You had to like 3 letters of recommendation or something. I can't remember. Just having to ask people for things like that was really difficult for somebody like me. And I have the moon in Virgo, so it's always that kind of like, I don't want to bother somebody, but this person may have it in for you. Now, who knows? There's probably something to do with envy, jealousy. Maybe this is this person's ex, and they share a child, because the queen can be a mother, and they hear that he is dating again, and they're trying, she's trying to stir up trouble, something like that. So, yeah, because we have another card that is like that. What's coming in is the Seven of Cups, and there, this can be good for multiple offers. If this is job related, as I stated, there can be some kind of a trigger with the for some of you. Now, this is going to be later degree, I would say, very later degree, Virgos, with this new moon in your 6th house. And you may feel this sense of like, because I'm trying to think, so what, but just in general, I mean, even if this isn't hitting your house with the new moon, you still have planets in Pisces in March. So it is, this area is triggered for everybody. And, the point being that there can be some kind of maybe like things kind of popping for you in a sense, but you may feel like you're not sure if you're being, somebody's exaggerating about it. I mean, this card is connected to Neptune, so like there's a Pisces vibe here also. And one of the things that can happen with a card connected to Neptune is that it looks really good, but there's deception behind here. And we also have, like, then this is why I picked an additional card. We have the 5 of Swords as the outcome card, and this is like, you can see those people in the background. it can be some kind of a slander, gossip. And, this card is also associated with, it's like underhandedness of some sort. And an empty victory. So another possibility here is, I was thinking of, like, let's say you are in the academic world and there's all this kind of who's going to get tenure, who's going to be the person who, because even with the Two of Wands, that could be like a travel situation. Now, again, I usually don't read that as how it is, but if I did, it would be like, deciding between whether or not to relocate. And it's possible that there is an issue with authenticity. I mean, that was something that I just came into my mind. And I don't know, why did it come into my mind? I don't know, it just did. I'm going to go with it. Maybe because of conformity. Maybe you're trying to get ahead, and yet there's a part of you that knows that you're not being authentic. And that's where the dilemma comes in, the ultimate dilemma. And what happens in those situations is that I think that when you're not where you belong, that you attract people that are not resonant with your vibration. And that can be what the Five of Swords represents. And they may not understand you, they may feel threatened by you, and they may try to bring you down. I did pick an additional card, and it was very interesting. Sometimes I was even tempted to pick an additional card, but I'm not going to. The Five of Wands is a card of conflict and of competition. And the reason I'm going to leave it here, Virgo, is because I think a lot of Virgos tend to doubt themselves and tend to second guess themselves. Maybe not. Maybe you're too self-critical, and this is really a card of getting in the fight, showing them what you have, getting into the fray, and not being afraid of showing your stuff or strutting your stuff. And so how I see this is maybe somebody is trying to bring you down or intimidate you. And maybe this is something that you have to kind of overcome, like that tendency to be intimidated. I noticed that both of these cards are fives. 5 is an unstable number. It's associated with Mercury, which is your ruler, by the way. And Mercury is about change. And this is a 5 universal year, which is also about change. If you're interested in knowing more about the numerology of this year, I did a video on that. I don't know. If I think about it, I'll link it, but you can find it on my channel. So one of the things about change is that, first of all, it's inevitable, but also that it indicates that we can expand our horizons, that we don't have to just stay the same. So as I was talking about that kind of Taurian stuck fixed energy that can be associated with the Hierophant and the Knight of Pentacles, we have these two cards of change, which can indicate that even Virgos who feel like they have been in a rut of sorts can change the way that they think about their lives, and they can find success, which is really connected to the Wands, career success, especially by being authentic. And this is another facet of the Wands, is that standing in your own truth and being an individual. because the hierophant is kind of like being part of that that corporate culture that is conformist. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that you resonated with this reading. Of course, it is a general reading, so if you didn't, I wouldn't be too surprised. But if you would like a personal reading, I like to do natal chart interpretations. I do tarot readings as well, but I find that the natal chart is really such a great wealth of information about, your cosmic blueprint of this lifetime in so many ways, and it's fun to explore it. So please click on the link below to find out more information about the type of readings that I offer. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.